This is the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA, a weekly recap of your Eagles and news around the NFL. Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's, tonight's show is brought to you by Rob's Automotive and Collision, BCWSA, Chickies and Pete's, Begley, Carlin and Mandio Law Firm, Penworth Financial Services, Penn Community Bank, The Capitol Grill, and Ventresca's LTD. From Inside the Birds, Adam Caplan, and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
Welcome, everyone. You're listening to the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM. You're also seen live at WBCBsports.com. It is Adam Caplan from Inside the Birds, and along with me tonight is a Pro Football Hall of Famer himself, the Pete Rozelle Radio Television Award-winning play-by-play voice of the Eagles, the great Merrill Reese. Merrill, great to see you.
Hi, I am happy to be here, and I'm happy you are the one working.
I appreciate that. No problem. You've given me the chance to do it. And Eagles legend, first-round pick in 1995 out of Boston College, but also from Lackawanna, New York. Who else was from there?
Ron Jaworski.
Jaws, that's right. Number 59, Mike Mamula. Mike, welcome, my friend. Mike, I got it. By the way, we are in Chicken Pizza in Warrington, PA, right up 611. So join us tonight if you could still get here. But, Mike, I want to ask you this question. So it is now 30 years since you were drafted, as we said, in 1995. So you have Brad Blanket, great agent, who you and I know Brad very well. And I remember sitting in Brad's suite in the NFL Combine. We were talking about your draft process and the Combine and all that. But what I don't know is, when you got drafted here, what did you think of Philly?
So when I first got here, I landed and I got on the 95 bridge to go to the stadium to immediately do a press conference. And the first thing that I remember seeing is all the oil refineries and everything. I'm like, what is this place? I'm like, I didn't know what was going on. But obviously it's and then an hour later I was in Villanova. So it was a great time in my life, and I was happy to be here.
Mel, one of the things I love about getting to know you over these decades is you have these great remembrances of these players when they're drafted and getting to know them. What do you remember about Mike coming in here as a first-round pick?
Well, the first thing I remember about Mike is that he owned the Combine. That you went to the Combine, Mike, and everybody knew you were a good football player from BC, but you set records in almost everything you competed in. We used to call it the Underwear Olympics. But you were so prepared for that you really shocked a lot of people with the scores you were putting in, the speeds, the weightlifting, everything. You were the best player at the Combine.
Yeah, it was. I had the fortune of having a strength coach that Tom Coughlin hired at BC, who during winter workouts, we didn't know what we were doing, but we were in this complex, and like 7 of the 10 drills were Combine drills that he had us running. And I had 2 years of prep before even going to the Combine, and then I realized, oh yeah, these are all Combine drills, and I was just blowing everybody out of the water, on the BC side, and then it just went over to the NFL.
Were you always an edge rusher in high school, or what position
always,
did you play?
Always
really?
End and then tight end, and then it was funny in tight end. The first play of offense my senior year, I was told to run a streak from the tight end spot, and there was a guy probably 30 yards behind me. The ball hit me in the hands, and I dropped it.
So you moved to edge.
So yeah, they weren't throwing me very many more of those.
So you get drafted in Philly in 1995, and Ray Rhodes is your head coach. What can you tell us about Ray Rhodes?
Ray was an intense guy. He was a players coach. He brought in a lot of older, really good players, and we had some success there the first couple of years that I was here, and he was a great coach.
And then, of course, Andy Reid for 2 years. What a difference! So Andy Reid's obviously going to be a Hall of Famer. Won a bunch of Super Bowls. What can you tell us about Andy Reid for the 2 years you were with him?
He struck me as a combination of a lot of different coaches that I had. So he had a little bit of Coughlin, a little bit of Dan Henning, a little bit of Ray Rhodes, all melted into one person, which obviously is a Hall of Fame type of personality.
Merrill, Andy Reid, his first year he came here, Oh, wow. You're perfect to ask this. What do you remember?
Well, I didn't get off to a very good start.
Oh,
with it.
really?
No, I did
Oh,
not.
boy. All right.
No, I did not. I was when he was named the head coach. I thought that was great. He and his whole family came to the I think it was a convention hall where they or one of the big hotels in town where they had his announcement, and it was great. And then I had to do the Andy Reid show, and what I did early was I did the kind of show that I've done with other coaches, and we would begin the show by going over the game from the day before. It was a Monday night show. And I would ask him questions, and we would play the game highlights. Well, some of the game highlights were not to his liking because we played the other team's touchdowns also. And Andy didn't think they were considered highlights. Highlights to Andy were good things about the Eagles, and that's that. And Andy was kind of tight on the show. And the very first caller on the show said to Andy, "Andy, I figured out what your problem was." And Andy said, "What's that?" And the guy said, "Your jockey shorts are on too tight." Well, that was the end of that show. That was the last live phone call we ever took. That was it. Andy said, "No more live phone calls on this show." And plus, they had to get a co-host who Andy was more comfortable with, who wouldn't ask him real questions. So they brought in Don Tollefson.
Oh, Tolly.
So I had to do the show with Andy and Don Tollefson because Don liked everything. And I was never critical of Andy, but I was real. You want to do a show? Let's talk about the fact that you fumbled in the fourth quarter and the Eagles lost the game. I was honest. I was respectful. And then over the time, our relationship grew. And you go through his entire career, and it was a great career, and I had a great relationship with Andy. But at the end, this is the guiltiest I've ever felt. At the end, in that 14th season, we knew. I mean, the last couple of seasons were bad. I mean, you look the last couple. Jeffrey Lurie actually came up after his next to the last season and saying that he was thinking, should he bring Andy back? I mean, one of the things that Andy did was that after they got rid of Sean McDermott, who was a good coach, as we now know, Andy was upset about that, so he took the offensive line coach, Juan Castillo, and made him the defensive coordinator.
That was a head scratcher.
Oh, that was a head scratcher, and that worked really well, didn't it? So it was a disaster. It was a disastrous year, and the next year was worse. Coaches were getting fired. They changed. They got rid of Jim Washburn. They got rid of. They made Todd. They got rid of over the bye. They got rid of Juan Castillo, and they made Todd Bowles the defensive coordinator. So it was awful, and I believe that every coach has a shelf life, and Andy's was gone at 14, and I felt in my mind, even though I liked Andy, that it was time that they should make a move, and we were doing the last game against the Giants. And news came down during the game that Andy was going to be fired the next day. And I thought, well, you got to do this. And I went to NovaCare the next day for the official announcement, and I felt that this was the right thing to do. And all of a sudden, I got called to Andy's office. Derek Boyko, the PR director, said, "Andy Reid wants to see you." And I thought, uh-oh, he's going to kill me because I think it's time for Andy to leave. And I walked into his office, and Andy said, "Come here, I want to tell you something."
Oh, wow.
He said, "I love you. You're the best play-by-play announcer in the National Football League, and don't worry about me." And he gave me this great big hug. I mean, I really hated myself at that moment. This person who I want to be replaced is telling me he loves me. And I'm thinking, what a jerk I am to be able to think this way. I've
never heard this story before. It's unbelievable.
Well, I never told it before.
Yeah, it's great.
I was waiting for this particular show.
Awesome. Who knew?
So I went out of there, and I felt terrible. And Andy said the last thing, he said, "Don't worry about me." I didn't know that by the end of the week, he'd have a new job that paid more. I mean, he knew. I mean, just like James Franklin's going to end up with a job whenever he wants.
Yeah.
He will have a job within by the end of the season for next year, making plenty. So, but with Andy, I felt bad about that. But look, he went to Kansas City. He picked a whole new staff, and all they've been doing is setting records. And he's a great coach, and he will be in the Hall of Fame. And he could be. I was speaking with Lee Alexander today. If he stays in for 4 more years, he will end up as the winningest coach of all time.
Mike, the first 2 years of Andy, right? So you were there. Did you see the foundation? Could you tell, okay, maybe there's something here with Andy?
Yeah, I mean, he had a way about him that you knew that he was putting everybody in the right position to succeed, and he was treating everybody the way you should be treated, like a player's coach type of thing. He had a really good balance of everything that he was doing. So, I mean,
could you see the discipline, though?
Whoa.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not going to disagree with Mike Mamula. But
talk to me, Merrill.
because he's already hit me in the head with the chest with a golf ball. But not the head.
Next time it's going to be worse.
But I'm not going. But I will say something when you talk about how he treated the players. He treated them well, usually. But the Eagles had a guy named George Hegeman.
Okay. Oh, I know this. Go ahead.
And he made a mistake in a game where he did something where he spoke out of turn.
He spoke out of turn.
And Andy had him in front of the whole world pushing the blocking sled all over the facility, the outdoor practice field. Oh, that was tough to watch.
And then he cut him.
And then he cut him.
Yeah. That was George Hegeman who said he didn't like his contract. He said the Eagles better come correct. Because that was the quote, Mike. I remember it. It was one of those things I was like, what is he doing? You were with George Hegeman for a year, right?
Yeah, I was.
Former Dallas Cowboy, right? So you kind of saw the foundation. Mike, one of the things I find interesting about you, again, you grew up in Lackawanna, New York, but you chose, after you retired, to live in the suburbs. Why'd you like Philly so much?
It just made a lot of sense for me. I mean, it's a great place. All the people that I've run into, most of the time, they're all really good folks. And, there's a lot of opportunity here. I played here. There's a lot of good. Plus, my wife is from here, so.
Chantel,
that makes
is it?
Chantel, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, it made a lot of sense. I mean, the other options were Buffalo, and unfortunately, there's not a lot going on there. And then Boston, which wasn't really an option because I had met my wife, so she was a Philly gal, so here I was.
From a business standpoint, what have you gotten into it since you retired?
So I had a business for 19 years, employment services, and then now I'm doing commercial title insurance for Fidelity.
Okay.
So I'm going after all, commercial real estate, attorneys and developers and things like that, and we do the title work. So
one of the things I noticed is meeting Mike Chilinsky, Chili.
Yep.
You were in business with Mike?
I was in business with Mike.
Okay.
Yep. He started the company up, the previous company up in '99, and I got on like 2 years later. And then we had 4 partners. Then there was down to Mike and I, and then prior to COVID, great timing. We wound up striking a deal with a VC firm and selling the company.
Didn't he play for Buddy?
I think he did, yeah.
I think he did.
Yeah.
He was Southern Cal?
UCLA.
UCLA.
Where's Chili from?
He's from Kenilworth, New Jersey.
Kenilworth, okay. Kenilworth.
He played high school with Saragusa.
Oh, God, I got to know Tony. I did the American Flag Football League with Tony. I never knew him. We met, and I mean, one of the greatest guys. One of the best days of your life was hanging with him, and then he passed away 2 years after I met him. In fact,
2 days after Jaws' tournament.
I was just going to say it. I saw him at the pairings party, and he died within 48 hours, as you just said, and it just shook me to my core, and Goose
it was shocking.
Away.
We were all
tough
hanging
deal.
out
Exactly.
that Thursday night. Yeah, it was bad.
Tough deal. So, guys, you were listening to the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, seen live at WBCBsports.com. And it's Adam Caplan from Inside the Birds, the great Merrill Reese, and Mike Mamula. And Merrill, so let's get to it. So let's turn the page. So the Eagles are 4-2. They're not 2-4, though some fans are acting like they are. What's your confidence level on this football team right now at 4-2?
My confidence level is the same as it was before the season.
Which was?
People expected me to say, I'm not somebody who goes around predicting much.
Sure.
But last year, I honestly hit it on the nose. I said I thought they would be 14-3, and they were. And I didn't project that they were going to be 18-3 and Super Bowl champions. But I knew how good they were. I went into this season believing that the Eagles would have their rough roads. They would probably, just the law of averages would have them losing more players to injury than they did last year, because last year they played so healthy. So I thought this was about an 11-6 team.
So did I.
And I still do. I think they're going through a rough patch right now. We have my friend Lee Alexander here tonight. Lee's nickname is Chicken Little. Lee generally thinks the sky is falling.
Thank you for that. It's good to know.
But the sky is not falling. All they have to do is go and win this weekend in Minnesota, and then the Giants will come here in another week, and they will batter the Giants from here to Kingdom Come.
All right, that's the voice of Merrill Reese. You're listening to the Pro Football Report right here on 1490 WBCB, presented by BCWSA right here. We're back here at Chicky and Pete's in Warrington, right off 611. We'll be right back here in a couple minutes. We'll see you when we come back.
Rob's Automotive and Collision Center in Lower Bucks County is a full-service repair center with competitive prices, top of the line. (215) 826-9200 for 24-hour emergency towing. Call 215-826-0250.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Do you have a large party of 10, 20, even 50 people? We can't wait to treat you like family at Chicky and Pete's. Forget about deposits or credit card reservations. Making a reservation for your large group is effortless at Chicky's and Pete's. Lots of options to celebrate and make your night out unforgettable. Order off the menu or select from food and drink packages. Private party rooms available. Make your reservations right now at chickiesandpete's.com. And don't forget, Chicky and Pete's gift cards are the perfect fit for any occasion. Only at Chickies and Pete's.
Hey BCWSA customers, this is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. My friends at BCWSA are committed to providing us with safe, reliable water and sewer services. They operate state-of-the-art treatment facilities, provide clean drinking water, and make much-needed investments to protect our environment and ensure a sustainable future. Learn how BCWSA's investments help grow and serve our communities. Visit bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
When an Eagles player gets hurt, the team takes care of him. When you get hurt, the attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio will take care of you. They understand that a severe accident can be a life-altering event. You need a reliable teammate to fight for you. The attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio will get you great results. And if there's no recovery, there's no fee. Contact them today at 215-750-0110 for a free consultation. 215-750-0110 for a reliable ally that's on your side.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts from Inside the Birds, Adam Caplan, and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3
Can I say it one more time?
Go ahead, my friend.
BCWSA.
You got it, BCWSA.
Yes.
And also seeing live at WBCBsports.com. It's Adam Caplan, Merrill Reese, and Eagles legend Mike Mamula.
You know, by the way,
59,
the
by
food
the way.
here
I
at
remember
Chickies
that.
and Pete's is really
Phenomenal. I'm a vegetarian. Their red pizza is absolutely off the hook. I love it.
good. I'm having a grilled chicken sandwich.
Nice.
George Forster, PGA, is here tonight eating a wonderful steak sandwich. And Mike Mamula, you're just dipping into a pizza here and there?
I will have some of the pizza once
Good.
I'm done.
Good, man.
Good. Okay.
All right, it's time now for this week's injury review brought to you by the attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio. Contact them today for a free consultation at 215-806-3689. That's 215-806-3689. And so, first one, guys, is Jalen Carter, the great first-round pick. He's had this shoulder injury. My understanding is, guys, he's had this shoulder problem since college, since Georgia. Right now, he's not on the injury report with it. At least he wasn't last week. But, Merrill, he has this mysterious heel injury. Now, give the fans out there a little bit of an idea. So when you're in the press box, you usually have the window open. Do you watch warm-ups?
Do I watch warm-ups?
Yes, do you?
Sure.
Did you see Carter work out at all?
When? Last week?
Yes, for the Giants game.
No.
Okay. So Mike, you
But
wasn't.
I wasn't really looking.
I got you. Okay.
What, did he work out?
He tried, but it didn't work. Now, have you been on that Giants stadium or the MetLife turf at all? You ever go out like before the game, a couple hours before?
No, but it is my favorite stadium.
It is.
It is. It is.
Why so?
Well, we have a wonderful vantage point right around the 50-yard line. We're in the middle level. We're not way up or way down. And the thing that makes that stadium unique is the scoreboards are on the ground. They are right behind the benches, so I don't have to look up or around or any of this.
That.
They're right there for you to see. It's just I think it's the best stadium in football for a broadcaster.
Interesting. So, Mike, you played at the old Giants Stadium. What do you remember about that stadium?
I don't remember much about it aside from having it be my last game of my career.
Oh no! Now, wait a minute. You missed one. Didn't you miss one full year?
I missed a year. Yeah, I blew my knee out on my 25th birthday.
Oh wow. Now, did you break your foot or Liz Frank? What was
It
your
was a
injury?
Liz Frank. That was the
boy.
the last thing that I wound up doing to my foot. But during the season, I had a plantar fascia that I was getting injections in my foot every game, and then I didn't get the injections that game, and that game my foot blew up in my shoe.
The Liz Frank injury. Give people an idea, because by the way, Deuce Staley had it in 2000. Give us people an idea what that injury.
Yeah,
was
I mean it was apparently Liz Frank or Dr. Frank, whatever the guy's name was. It was like this, the Revolutionary War where.
No, it was Napoleonic times. It was during the Napoleon War.
That's why we
It
brought
was,
you,
as a
Merrill.
matter of fact. It's true.
So they.
I know my wars.
You know your foot injuries. It's
good to know.
So there was a where when guys used to get stuck in the stirrups,
In the stirrup,
and they
he's right.
used to fall out, they would tear that ligament.
Yeah.
Wow. So we're going to keep an eye on Jalen Carter. And the Quinyon Mitchell, guys, he has the hamstring injury. He leaves
Who
the
do you
game.
think was bigger, Boston Scott or Napoleon?
Boston Scott, first of all, Boston Scott was built like a fire hydrant. Yes.
I met him a few times, yeah.
Good player, by the way, number 35.
He was a good player.
Is he anywhere now?
I think he's out now, but he was a
He's been
great
working
little
out for
running
teams.
back.
Yeah, but
Is he
exactly.
still working out with teams?
He is. He's trying to fact his agent. called me a
He's
couple
one of my
weeks ago.
favorite players.
Yeah. So Merrill, the Eagles cornerback group, right? So you've got Quinyon Mitchell, who's terrific. You've got Adoree Jackson, Keely Ringo. Mac McWilliams was inactive last week. You would have to think he's going to be active this week. So what are we looking at here? What do you think happens here at corner? What can they do?
Well, according to Vic today, Vic Fangio, he kind of intimated that it's going to be Adoree Jackson.
Over Ringo again, yeah, and Ringo started last week. It's a tough deal, man, because you got to have rush and cover and rush. Mike, you know, as an edge rusher, man, although Vic Fangio would call you an edge rusher, he'd not call you a linebacker. Did they call you a linebacker back in the day?
No, defensive end.
Okay, defensive end. Now, did you play in a 34 front? Is that what you?
No, 4-3.
Oh, 4-3. Okay, you were 4-3. Okay.
Yeah.
You're 0 for 2.
So no, wait, no, I didn't.
0-3.
I couldn't remember.
Talk about the wars that we're talking about earlier.
No, but I couldn't remember whether you played with your hand in the door or not, or you
all
stand
the
up
time.
pass rusher. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and Vic Fangio, his guys are standing up as edge rushers. So, Merrill, the trade deadline comes in about actually 3 weeks exactly from today, November 4th, Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Right now, it's corner to me, edge rush. Not saying they can't make a run. This is a very mediocre year for the National Football League. There's no question about it. But they got to find a way, and they just lost. So Darius Smith shocked us. He just decided to retire, make it over $4 million, Merrill. So right now, I would say edge rush and corner are the two positions I'd be worried about going forward here.
That makes sense, but I think that one of the things you're going to see more this Sunday than you've seen so far is you're going to see Jahad Campbell move outside and rush the corner, and I think he's going to be great. Vic has been very careful bringing him along, and he's done very well at linebacker. But now that Kobe Dean is back, and the Kobe Dean is one of the best players that Vic had last year, loves him, and Vic was asked, you put the best players you have out there, how do you get them in? He said, you put the best combination of players, your best combination out there, which could leave somebody on the bench for the time being. But I get the feeling that Nakobe Dean is going to start inside next to Zach Bourne. And you talk about depth, because there's another guy sitting on the bench right now, except for special teams, who wears his dad's number 54, and that is young Trot, Jeremiah Trotter, and he is a very, very capable player. So they've got tremendous depth there, and they can afford to take Campbell and put him on the edge.
Mike, what do you remember about Trot Sr. as a football player?
He was just a wrecking machine. Yeah, he was, run stuffer, thick as hell, just left to right. He was just a great player.
And it's funny, Merrill, Trot Jr. is so much smaller than his dad. It's amazing that, because I saw Trot Sr. at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I caught up with him a little bit. And we were just talking about his son, and I'm like, it's amazingly the same genes because he's so much smaller. But fast, he can move.
Seems like he has the same mentality, too, because you need to have that mentality to play.
Trot Sr. was great. I mean, you remember him making big plays, and then he went into the Axeman routine. That was great. Mike had a routine. Instead of an Axeman, Mike used to pretend to be a drum major and throw a baton.
Really?
Yeah, I remember you doing that. It didn't quite have the same effect as an Axeman.
What was your sack dance, Mike?
I didn't really have one. I just kind of like flail around.
By the way, you told me during the break, again, you know your career better than we all do, you had 2 sacks in that 99 game late in the season against Kurt Warner, correct?
Yep, that and interception for a touchdown the same game.
Holy smoke. Was that your best game as a pro? One of them?
One of them, yeah. It was one of them, definitely.
I remember that game. I really do. You were on fire, and I remember the touchdown.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a what's his name? Jim Johnson had me dropping, and I dropped, and I just grabbed the ball out of the air with one arm, pinned it to my leg, turned, and ran.
Mike, who was the biggest influence on your career in terms of development as a player? College or pro?
Probably Tom Coughlin. He was the one that really instilled things in me that I didn't even know I had.
Like what?
Just being on time and
Oh, you didn't know you could be on time?
No, I didn't know.
5 minutes early?
5 minutes early.
5 minutes early.
Just to be
Really?
responsible and
Wow.
be accountable for everything that you do.
Tom Coughlin was great. I have a picture in my den of Tom Coughlin after he won his second Super Bowl, and it's a picture of Tom with his legs crossed, and he said, "The answer is in the preparation."
Yes.
It was, but just great. But he was a great coach. He was a great coach, and if you knew Tom Coughlin, he was a great guy.
Oh man, yeah, he was always prepared. Always prepared.
No, here's what it said: "The joy is in the journey."
Oh, okay.
The joy is in the journey. That's exactly what it said.
Merrill, speaking of the journey, before we take this break, I got to ask you this question. When you prepare for a game, because I know play-by-play guys have their charts and so forth, when do you start preparing for this game against the Vikings?
Monday?
How so?
Well, actually, Sunday.
What do you do?
Sunday. I first of all, I get my numbers together, and Cindy, my wife, has flashcards. And she starts throwing flashcards at me, like 27, and that would be Jordan Mason, or 36, and that would be Xavier Scott, or 87, and that would be T.J. Hawkinson. The whole.
Wow.
We do it all week, and then I look at a lot of tape. So that I can see teams' tendencies and visualize what I'm going to see on Sunday. And if I have any coach friends whose teams have played the opponent recently, I may call them. And I know somebody in almost every team.
So do you rest your voice at all prior to a game?
Good question.
Good question. Yeah. The answer is yes and no. I'm not crazy unless I have a cold or something like that. But the night before a game, I really don't want to go out to some loud restaurant, and I don't want to do that. The day before a game, I will not stay on the telephone for more than 2 or 3 minutes because you tend to project differently on the phone. So, hi, how are you? Goodbye. But basically that's it. But I'm not going to sit on a phone. I don't want to speak in loud places. If we have to go to a wedding or something like that, we're out of there after they say I do. And I'm not going to be doing a game the day before the game.
Sure.
I eat my breakfast at home or at the stadium because when I get to a stadium, I am too nervous to eat. Mike can eat right through a broadcast. Nothing bothers him. But I'm scared to death the day of a game until my producer Joe McPeak cues me and I go on
Joseph
the air.
A. McPeak.
But I can feel it that day because I've got so much in my head.
Are you superstitious at all?
Yeah, actually, I only have one superstition. George, you know what that is, don't you? I carry 2 pennies in my pocket at all time. Because
Really?
I once read where Jack Nicklaus carried 2 pennies, so he would always have a ball marker. But forever, look, I'm just going to dig into my pocket right now and show you that I have 2 pennies.
There it is.
There they are, 2 pennies.
Any particular year?
Ladies and
doesn't
gentlemen,
matter?
2
Yeah,
pennies.
Yeah, he does.
Now you
It's
see
so
them.
funny.
Now but
That's really good.
That's
Good
my
job,
only,
Mamula. Good job.
That's my only superstition.
All right, you're listening to Merrill Reese and Mike Mamula. I'm Adam Caplan. You're listening to the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA right here on 1490 WBCD.
You realize that the president of BCWSA, Ben Jones, has honored us with his presence.
Hello, Ben.
It's great to have Ben here. It's always good to see Ben.
BCWSA,
Ben,
by the way.
Ben, are you enjoying your dinner with Chicken Little? Okay.
Good to see Ben.
Good.
You can also watch us at WBCBsports.com. I'm Adam Caplan. He's Merrill Reese. He's Mike Mamula. We'll be right back.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, the official sports bar of your world champion Philadelphia Eagles. Go where the players go. Come join us all season for Eagles pep rallies, watch parties, and the best in-game experience anywhere. Ice-cold draft beer, world-famous food, and fan-friendly fun for every Eagles game. Every Monday night in South Philly, the Jordan Mailata Show, presented by Miller Lite, followed by Chicky and Pete's Players Lounge with a current player, hosted by Ike Reese and Hugh Douglas. Go where the players go. Chickies and Pete's.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts from Inside the Birds, Adam Caplan, and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
All right, everybody, we're here at Chicken Pete's in Warrington, right up 611, kind of near where I grew up in Cheltenham, PA. Home of Reggie Jackson, by the way. Yes. 1965, when I was born, I remember Reggie. My parents tell me about Reggie Jackson, who would go to Arizona State, Merrill. And our high school was interesting. I went to Penn Charter after that, where Matt Ryan went, Mike McGlinchey of the 49ers. But getting back, it's Adam Caplan, Merrill Reese, and Mike Mamula. So, guys, right now, it's time for our Penworth Financial Keys to the Game. The key to your financial future is Penworth Financial. Call them today at 267-997-4503 or visit penworth.com. All right, Merrill, so the Eagles are going to travel. You'll travel Saturday with the club. They're going to play the Vikings. You called a famous game there when they won the Super Bowl 52, I believe.
I did.
Possibly against Carson Wentz this Sunday. Merrill, could be. Could be.
Could be, but I would think they would want to start J.J. McCarthy if he's ready. Because Carson Wentz is not the future of this team.
No.
And they spent sixth pick in the draft to get J.J. McCarthy?
I don't remember what number. It was a first-round pick.
Top 10.
Yeah, it's a first-round pick.
Top 10.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a great pick. Coming out of that draft, the quarterback I liked the most, and I'm going to be honest with you, was the quarterback, Michael Penix, who did a good job last night for the Falcons.
Yep.
Michael Penix has a great arm. He can really throw through the wind, throw through anything. I love Michael Penix. His passing style reminds me of Michael Vick.
He's got a strong arm. He's a bigger dude than Vic. But, yeah, I get it. So, Mike Mamula, let me ask you this question. As a veteran player, your team's on a roll a little bit. You now have a winning record. But you know that you have that first-round pick there. But you're winning with Carson Wentz. How would you feel as a veteran about playing a veteran over a rookie quarterback?
I think if you're winning, you got to stick with who's winning for you, and you don't want to just go out there and roll the dice with someone who's you just don't know. And a lot of these guys, you're not playing in this league that often or that long, so it's you want to win now, and that's probably the best chance for them to win now, I guess.
But you know what, Mike? Not to disagree with you, because I have a lot of respect for your knowledge and your reasoning. just not your golf swing. But I will be honest with you. The thing you have to remember is this is not the rookie year of J.J. McCarthy. They invested all this money in with him, and he got hurt last year, and he sat the entire year, tore his ACL, was done for the year. Now, this is his second year, not his first year. And if you believe that much in J.J. McCarthy, as soon as he's healthy, you've got to give him the reins.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a coaching decision at that point. Just to see.
I think it's an upper office. I think it's an owner decision.
True. Yeah, I mean, somebody's going to be pulling the strings there.
So, Mike, you were there, obviously, 1999, Donovan McNabb's first year.
Yeah.
Tell us about. You're smiling. Tell us about it.
Well, Doug Peterson wasn't going to be the answer, so it was definitely Don. It was time. Wait, how many games did Peterson play that season? Probably
about
like
5.
5, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He was brought in to take the beating until the offensive line was good
yeah,
enough.
He was.
Good enough to protect Donovan. Let's face it, he was the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, no doubt. And he still came back.
Doug's the best.
Love him.
Doug is the best.
What an amazing story. He was the quarterback in 99 to start the season, then he went to Super Bowl in 2017. I mean, you can't make it up. It's an amazing story.
Amazing.
Do you remember that? Let me ask you a question. When they brought Andy in, obviously Andy wanted a guy he knew, and Doug Peterson. What do you remember about Doug Peterson when he came in 99?
Well, I knew this about Doug Peterson, that Doug Peterson was the quarterback of record on the field for the Miami Dolphins
there you go.
when Don Shula became the winningest coach of all time.
Really?
Yes.
Yep. Huh. At the vet. Remember that?
Yes,
if
it
I
was
recall
at
that,
the
right?
vet.
Wasn't it? Yep. Yep. Everyone, you listen to the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA right here on 1490 FM. AM and FM 107.3. Adam Caplan, Merrill Reese, and Mike Mamula. Guys, Minnesota, right? So Minnesota is 3-2. They're in a dogfight in that NFC North. The Packers, it's Merrill, it's interesting. Everyone's darling. They make the big trade for Micah Parsons. But yet they give up 40, Merrill, to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And now the Eagles do play the Packers, do they not this year? I think they play.
Yes, in Green Bay.
Yes, in Green Bay. Merrill, I've never been to Green Bay, one of the stadiums I've not been to. What is it like in Green Bay? You like calling games there?
Love it.
Why?
Because when I go to Green Bay, the stadium is in that little town, and you ride through the small streets and the little homes, and you get there, and the whole town is outside the stadium cooking brats and doing all this stuff. And you walk in, instead of they're not gesturing at you and making faces at you or calling you names. They say, "Hi, nice to have you. Would you like a brat?" They're wonderful people. And then you walk into that stadium. Now, that stadium has been redesigned. I think originally it was like City Stadium, and it sat something like 30,000 people. And then they kept expanding it, and I think now it seats close to 70. But the actual basics of that stadium, even though they've been built upon, are there. And you walk in, and when you look at that stadium and you look at that field, in your mind, you can hear the echo of John Facenda saying, "The frozen tundra of Green Bay, Wisconsin," as he did on the NFL films. You hear that, you feel that, and you almost look and see the frost coming out of Lombardi's mouth, and you think about Paul Hornung and Jim Taylor and Bart Starr and Boyd Dowler and Jerry Kramer and Fuzzy Thurston and all of these great Green Bay Packers. And it really, if you love football, to a football fan, it's a baseball fan's Fenway Park or Wrigley Field. It's magic.
Mike, you ever play there?
I did, and it was funny. Before the game, my locker was situated right next to a door, and I hear this noise coming from behind this door. I open the door, and there's two cheeseheads, like behind the door. So these two guys, they were walking in the bowels, and they wound up being in the locker room, and I shut the door on them, called security. They got ushered out, but nobody got in trouble, but it was pretty funny.
Mel, turning our attention to this game on Sunday, what do the Eagles have to do to bounce back after this 2-game losing streak?
They have to get to the quarterback, number one, whether his name is Wentz or McCarthy. They have to get to him. They have to terrorize him.
Wentz is probably a lot easier.
Yeah, Wentz does not have the mobility of J.J. McCarthy. But they also have to be able to run the football. run it enough to give Jalen Hurts the opportunity to throw and keep the Vikings off balance. The other thing is you got to realize they're not going to be able to stop Justin Jefferson. They're not going to be able to stop him. They may be able to limit him somewhat, but regardless of, they don't have anybody that they can put out there who's going to shut down Justin Jefferson.
Lockdown corner.
No, they don't have that. Without
Quinyon.
Without
Sure.
Quinyon Mitchell.
Let's talk about Quinyon. He comes in out of Toledo. You know, it's not a great football school. Toledo Rockets, in fact, when I went to Ohio U, they're in the MAC conference. Toledo was known more for basketball than football, but this kid has been so good, Merrill. Quinyon, when he came in here, what were your thoughts about him after he was drafted?
Great player. Great player. I had seen all the tape on Quinyon Mitchell, and that was the player that I thought they could probably want all they wanted to, but they weren't going to be able to be. He's going to be taken much lower in the draft, higher in the draft, closer to the top of the
corner,
draft.
right.
He's going to go, and somehow or other they were able to be in position to get him and Cooper DeJean.
How about DeJean?
He's great. They're great players. The two of them are really great players. They're future All-Pros.
Let me ask you a question. We even brought up Nick Sirianni, who's been this guy since he's come in here. Has been a terrific head coach. Merrill, let's start with you with Nick Sirianni. Give us your thoughts early with him and how he's developed as a head coach.
Well, he was struggling and he admits it, at his first press conference. He wasn't prepared properly by the Eagles. He kind of stumbled around and didn't exude any confidence, but he quickly made amends and showed that he knows what he's doing. And his record, he's got the best winning percentage in the National Football League.
He's got a Super Bowl.
This is his fifth year. He's been to the playoffs all 4 years. He's been to 2 Super Bowls and won one. I mean, what can you say other than he's been phenomenal?
And you were around Andy, so go ahead.
What's that?
You were around Andy, obviously, early on, but what are your thoughts on Nick Sirianni?
Yeah, well, last year they wanted to get rid of him after 2 games, remember?
Yeah.
They were 2-2, right? They were 2-2, yeah.
No, I mean...
Chicken Little, I might say, was ready to run him out of town.
There he is. Yeah, no, he's exuding the confidence. He seems like he's keeping everything internalized, which is great. He's not pointing fingers. He's not doing any of that stuff. He's taking accountability for everything that's going on, whether it be good or bad. And I think that's the way that a head coach has to do it.
Is there a common denominator with guys like Tom Coughlin and Andy Reid since you've been around with both those guys?
Well, Andy had a portion of Tom. Tom was his own animal.
How so?
Tom was a drill sergeant. He would have been a great general. I played golf with George Casey the other day. I mentioned that to him. He's a 4-star general. I said,
wow. Tom
Coughlin, he would be a great general. And Andy had a touch of that. He had that. Everybody had to be there at a certain time. Everything, it had to be a certain way. But he was also a very, very good players coach.
Did you know that about Andy early on? How good he was, like just the way that. Because remember when he took over from Ray was fired. Did you know that pretty early on that there was something special with him?
Me? Or
yes.
Mike?
No, you.
Me?
Oh,
yeah.
How so?
You know how he got the job? He came so prepared for the job that
the binders.
He came in with binders, and he had done a 52-page analysis of the center snap. He really did. That's how detail-oriented he was.
Wow.
He was football all the time. And then I could see the way that the two things that Sirianni and Andy have in common, number one, they both are respected by their players. There is absolute respect there. And the other point is they are both meticulous. They are guys that do not let one detail slide under the door.
That's the thing, being detail-oriented. In whatever business you're in, it's remarkable. And what I love about this guy, Nick Sirianni, is he sees it and it's not working. He gives it up, play calling the first year. How many guys would do that? The guy takes over as a head coach in 2021, right? And he says, you know what? It's not working because it's to Shane Steichen.
Well, didn't Andy do it? Didn't Andy give it to Marty? He gave it to
Marty.
Marty.
More than
Marty
once.
Morningwood.
Actually, more than once. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure, and the cool thing is, Mike, you were around for the infancy of Andy Reid. Those staffs are great on both sides. Look how many head coaches that Andy had who become head coaches.
Amazing, right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Did you have was Spags on the staff when you were there?
Spags was there. Yeah, I mean, like the whole lot of them. Yeah, it was. Who else? I mean, all the rest of them.
Pat Shermer.
Yep. Brad Childress.
Brad Childress. Yeah. None of them became head coaches, good, successful head coaches.
They became head coaches, which is hard to do.
But they
Merrill.
did become head coaches, but not. There wasn't any successful coach who came out of that tree.
All right.
But Andy,
Not yet.
Not yet. But Andy came out of the most successful tree
McDermott,
of all.
we'll see.
Andy came out of the Mike Holmgren tree.
Oh, yeah.
And he was never a coordinator, Merrill. Isn't that unbelievable? Andy was never a coordinator.
No, he was a quarterback coach.
Right, he was never a coordinator, but yet he's going to go to the Hall of Fame as Super Bowl champion. All right, everybody, you're listening to the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3. We'll be right back.
Rob's Automotive and Collision Center in Lower Bucks County is a full-service repair center with competitive prices, top-of-the-line products, and the finest auto body and mechanical repair technicians anywhere. Rob's makes repairing your car easy. Same-day service guaranteed. Whether it's an oil change, state inspection, or a mechanical issue, Rob's will have you in and out and on your way. 2700 Veterans Highway in Bristol, 215-826-9200 for 24-hour emergency towing. Call 215-826-0250.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Do you have a large party of 10, 20, even 50 people? We can't wait to treat you like family at Chicky and Pete's. Forget about deposits or credit card reservations. Making a reservation for your large group is effortless at Chickies and Pete's. Lots of options to celebrate and make your night out unforgettable. Order off the menu or select from food and drink packages. Private party rooms available. Make your reservations right now at chickiesandpete's.com. And don't forget, Chicky and Pete's gift cards are the perfect fit for any occasion. Only at Chickies and Pete's.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. Every champion needs a good game plan. BCWSA and I want to make sure you have a game plan when it comes to conserving our most precious resource, water. Whether you're washing dishes, brushing your teeth, or watering your garden, there are ways you can save water and save money. Visit bcwsa.net for tips on conserving water. BCWSA, proven.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts from Inside the Birds, Adam Caplan, and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's Adam Caplan, Merrill Reese, and Mike Mamula here at Chicky and Pete's in Warrington, PA, right up 611. All right, guys, so here's the thing. Mike, let's go to you first because you as a former player, I'm really interested to see what you think about this situation. So the Eagles have 2 losses in a row. When a team goes through a losing streak, let's say we're not going to say it's going to happen here, but when it becomes 4 and 5 games as opposed to 2, you guys talk in the locker room about it, but what are the coaches saying? Like, what happens in the locker room?
It's just an ugly, ugly situation. I mean, I was on a couple, like the one year I was actually on IR, and that's the year we were like 3-13. That was bad. It was like, you didn't want to talk to anybody. It was just a bad situation.
And Merrill, you as someone who goes in the building, I worked for Dave Spinauer in 2012, and I could tell you coming in, seeing Marty Morningweg, where I got to know Marty and some of the coaches, how miserable it was. What's it like, Merrill, when you work for a club or you work around a club?
Well, number one, I've never worked for the club.
Right.
I've always worked for.
You're hired by IP.
By the radio station or the.
But when you're working
company.
in that building.
But it's difficult. It's difficult. But you always find somebody in there that you can sit down with and have a relationship with and hear their inner feelings and what is going on. Nobody has ever taken it out on me. There's only one coach in my 49 seasons. This is my 49th season.
Wow.
And there's only one coach that I can honestly tell you that I had no relationship with whatsoever, and that was Chip Kelly. He was Jeffrey Lurie. When the day he was hired, Jeffrey brought me up to the stage in the auditorium after his press conference and said, "I want you to meet Merrill Reese. He's a great play-by-play guy." And Chip said to me, "When you have a chance, come to my office. I'd like to pick your brains and hear your story." I thought, wow, that's great. So. A week later, Derek Boyko, the PR guy, said, "Come on up to the office. Chip's not busy right now." So I went up, and the second I walked into the office, Chip jumped up out of his chair, ran to the door, patted me 3 times on my shoulder, and sent me on my way. There wasn't a sincere thing about him.
Oh, jeez.
I said to Coach,
Oh,
remember the game Thanksgiving night when they won in Dallas? Great win, Mark Sanchez, quarterback, and they beat the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I got onto the plane, and as I was walking back, I passed Chip Kelly. I said, Coach, what a great job you did. This was a fun game to broadcast. He looked over at me and then looked back the other way. That was it. He had no communication skills. None. I had coaches come up to me and say, do you think I did something wrong? Because he's not talking to me. And no matter what your field is, whether you are a broadcaster, whether you are a golf pro, whether you are president of BCWSA, the thing you have to have is skills, communication skills. You have to be able to deal with people. And I felt that Chip was a minus in that regard.
Mike, when you look at this club, as we turn our attention to the Eagles and the Vikings, okay, they're 4-2. They've had a 2-game losing streak. But you watch this team. Your thoughts coming into the season? Because again, they just won the Super Bowl, but they did lose a lot of free agents. What do you think of this team coming into the season?
Well, they were flying high, and with the change of the offensive coordinator, there was like something there where like last year when they had the change, it took like 2 or 3 games to get things moving, get things rolling for both sides. So maybe that's the what's going on there, on the offensive side. Maybe they're just trying to get used to the system. Still, they're not quite there yet. But that's what I was thinking. I mean, I was thinking it was going to be a little bit of a stumble in the beginning, just because it's all all new on the offensive side.
You brought it up last year. I mean, they were 2-2, and then they went on an unbelievable roll. Mike, as a player, when it's rolling really well, what's that like? Locker room wise and everything.
No, it's amazing. It's the best thing in the world. It's not just the locker room, obviously. It's the whole city. Everyone's in a good mood. Everybody wants to go to work. Everyone's talkative at the water coolers and whatnot.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's a
Merrill,
situation.
As a broadcaster, when it's rolling, 2017, 1980, obviously this past season in 22, yet they didn't win, but had a great team. What's it like calling games? What's it like just being here?
Well, it's more fun, obviously, because everything is upbeat, everything is positive. You're seeing great plays and great success. But at the same time, there is also an obligation you have when things are going downhill, going in the opposite direction, to keep the broadcast interesting. You're not rooting, you're not spreading false enthusiasm, but you're in more of an analytical mode. What does this team have to do to get out of this?
That stadium, which you're going to call the game in, obviously you called it there when they won the Super Bowl in 2017 season. Bank of America Stadium, what's it like to call a game there?
Tough, because we are in a corner of the end zone. Ooh. Minnesota radio sits down one level below us, right behind this bench on the 30-yard line. We're in the corner of the end zone. I'll tell you a story. As that game was winding down and it got to that last play, I was scared to death. Not scared that the Eagles would lose, scared that I just didn't want to be the announcer who blew the end of the Super Bowl. And that play was going to culminate 110 yards away from where I was sitting. And as that play got underway, I don't know what happened, but Brady stumbled, then he got the arm back and he threw the ball. And whether it was divine intervention or what it was, suddenly everything slowed down. And it was like watching an NFL film as the ball slowly goes down towards the end zone. And I saw Rodney McLeod reach up and touch it. And I saw it hit the ground. And I was able to say the game is over. The Eagles win. The Eagles are Super Bowl champions. And then what came out of my mouth was, Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin. So it worked out, but it's not a good vantage point from which to call a game.
So for that game, were both color commentary in the same spot, or did the New England folks have the good spot?
For that game?
Yeah.
That's a good question. They must, as the home team for that game, they must have had the booth that is used normally by the Vikings radio.
You should have had seniority on that one.
No, but they don't give it to you. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do who is the home team and who is the visiting team.
I get it.
Sure. Mike, where were you when they won in 17? Where were you? Were you watching the game?
Oh, yeah, I was watching the game. I was at home. Absolutely, yeah, it was good.
Now, do you live and die as a former player with the club still?
Between, unfortunately, the Bills and the Eagles, they're both, being from Buffalo.
Okay.
I had to do some soul searching in the last couple of years when both teams were both, possibly making the Super Bowl, and I don't know. I was torn.
Now, did you grow up as a Bills fan?
I grew up as a Bills fan.
Who was your favorite player?
Bruce Smith.
I knew you were going to say
not
that.
Bruce Smith.
Yeah.
Not Bruce Smith.
Really?
Fred Smerlis.
Oh, Fred Smerlis was a nose tackle.
Exactly.
Huh.
Yeah.
Really? Good player.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not Jack Kemp?
Not Jack Kemp. He was before my time.
Wow.
So, Merrill, so they're 4-2. Now, you said to start the season you thought they were 11-6, so this is not a surprise to you that they're 4-2.
No, it's not a shock. No, I did not think it was going to be a smooth run from start to finish. I knew they would go through some tough times, and a lot of teams do. Mm-hmm. And it's just so amazing how things change. Eagles really manhandled Kansas City a few weeks ago.
They did.
And they had to escape a little at the end, but they were the better team clearly. The other night, Kansas City beat a good Detroit team and just ran away from them in the second half. Right now, today, at this very minute, I think Kansas City is the best team now that they have Worthy back in the NFL. The best right now. But then in a week from now, they could lose so-and-so and have an injury here, or, Travis Kelce goes down. Any of these, and I'm not wishing it on anybody, but I'm just saying this is a war of attrition. And the team that is healthiest, and as Buddy Ryan used to say, the team that can win when the snow flurries fall is going to the championship.
You would probably know this. Weren't the Eagles in 22? Didn't they have or was it last year that they had every player who started the season, all 22 started?
That's right,
What
and
year
that's why I
Last year.
believed that the Lions, who had the best regular season record, the Lions with their coach Dan Campbell hit each other during training camp, and they played during the preseason games.
Yep.
And they had, going into the playoffs, they had 16 or 18 players on injured reserve, and that's why Washington wiped them out. The Eagles had all 22 starters healthy, and then the Kobe Dean went down in the Rams game, I think. But they had everybody healthy. That's the key.
Mike, you as a player, and you saw this obviously throughout your career, you talked about the injury that you had. How tough is it to stay healthy throughout a season? What do you do to stay healthy?
I mean, you eat right, you work out, you do everything that you're supposed to do, and it's luck. I mean, you see that, like, even last night, I forget which guy it was. I mean, somebody just rolls up on your leg and you're standing around a pile. It's all luck.
Fred Warner went down. We had San Francisco the other day.
Yeah,
He's out
I mean,
for
it's
the
just
season.
Dislocated ankle. Yeah,
it just
terrible.
happens. I mean, you just never know when it's going to happen.
You don't know.
And quickly, Mike, your off seasons, what did you do to stay in shape?
I did as much as I could. They would have workouts that were scheduled, and you would go to the stadium and do everything there, and but it was pretty much an all year round thing as well back then.
And by the way, when did the off season program start? I'm very curious about that. Back when you were playing.
Probably April.
Okay, because they can't until after the draft. The coaches can't really get to them because of the CBA.
Yeah, it's a lot different now.
All right, everyone, you're listening to the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA right here on 1490 WBCB. We're at Chicky and Pete's in Warrington. Next week, it'll be Jeff Mosher and Andrew Ducecco at Chicky and Pete's in Marlton, New Jersey. Then I'll be back here on 1490.
Can I thank our engineer,
yes,
Chris
please.
Ermer?
Chris Ermer's fantastic.
Everything he does with WBCB
the
is
timing,
the absolute
cues,
best.
everything. Great,
and
great
I also might
producer.
want to mention that our guest executive producer was George Forster, PGA.
It's to our left. Yes. From Radnor Valley. Yes.
Emeritus.
Oh, okay. All right. So next week we'll be there. Again, this is the Pro Football Report. Adam Caplan, Merrill Reese, and Mike Mamula.
Thanks,
We'll
man.
see you next week. Thank you.
You're listening to 1490 WBCB and on your FM dial at 107.3 W297CL Levittown.